if you were the coach, what would be your plan to reintegrate him into the defense? Keep in mind, this is a defense that is number 5 in the league without him. So what do you do? How do you handle this? He's one of your leaders.
I'd say in zone situations, you get him out there. He can have the start for the stat sheet, but I think in man situations especially you got to go with Mosley and Verrett and ease Sherman back out there in favorable zone situations. That's all I have to say. I don't know how well he can run. I don't know. The injury, I guess, seemed worse than a lot of people thought initially. So I'd like to ease him back in.
Does he need to start for his ego? What's that about?
Yeah.
Probably something in his contract, some money thing. You think he negotiated it.
Well,
Ego, contract, and just because I think the coaches are just going to give it to him too, because if I don't see no way they're going to ease him into this. Otherwise, they would have just eased him in last week. So you got the bye. He already started working. So I feel like he's just going to get pretty much almost a good, nice full duties, aside for like the man coverage ones might be the one that are going to be the real question mark. And they would just kick in Emmanuel Mosley in the slot because Kayvon Williams has already been ruled out against the Rams. So you need someone more adequate, more out there to cover a lot of those slot receivers between Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, who they will throw a nice flurry of punches and routes out there. So I think Sherman's definitely still going to be out there, a good handful of a good hefty full of plays out there.
Yeah, I agree. If they're in the mode of where they're going to think that they still have a shot at getting to the playoffs this year, if they can run the table, they're going to come out this against the Rams, and they're going to. I'd be surprised if they don't put Sherman out on the boundary side with Verrett on the other side. I think that's what would give them. They think might be giving them the best. These are our best players. Let's throw them out there. Let's see if he struggles. Mosley comes in and saves the day.
Fair. What I would do is not start him. I would play him on third downs. I would start Mosley and move Mosley into the slot and bring Sherman on the field for third downs. But really, even that scares me because I don't think Robert Saleh can call man coverage nearly as much with Richard Sherman in the game than he can without him. And I think that's been the key to the system. Like, that's been the key to the defense this year. The fact that they can call so much man, because when you call man, you're free to blitz. And the Niners really need to bring blitzes pretty regularly to get pressure. If you bring in Richard Sherman, you can't blitz as much. You can do zone blitzes, but that's not bringing 5 players as much, bringing 4 and dropping people out. Richard Sherman's numbers will be good, but I think the Niners, you'll see the completion percentage that they give up will go up. The first downs per game will go up. Their defense rating will go down. So I don't necessarily think that it's going to be a good thing to bring him back. I think what's made the defense, the 2020 defense, what it is their ability to disguise coverages, to man up with most receivers and tight ends. And while Richard Sherman can still play zone coverage as well, I think he would take away a lot of what's making them good as a defense. Again, with Richard Sherman, he's great in zone, but I think a lot of what propped him up last year was the pass rush. If you're only going to play zone coverage, having a dominant 4-man pass rush saves you.
Absolutely.
If you don't have that dominant 4-man pass rush, you're going to get killed by double moves anyway. That zone coverage is going to break down, or you're going to have to blitz and you're going to get left on an island. So I just don't see, I don't know. He's great to have as a reserve, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is a team that's winning with coverage. I don't see it. I don't see it. But
I don't know. If you go back and watch that first Rams game, though, this was a team that should have been beat with the coverage that they were putting out on the field. If the quarterback just hits the guys that are running open, or the receiver catches the ball in the end zone when it hits them in the hands.
Yeah,
so,
that's a good point. That's a good point. If you allow me to retort, if I remember, it's been a few weeks, the people who got burned were Jaquiski Tart and Marcel Harris was the Packers. It was definitely Tart, right?
Yes.
Well, maybe more out there will help. But you're right. Good point. They're going to have to play Richard Sherman at some point. You can't just not play him. It's just going to be interesting. Do you just give him a full workload week 1, or do you say, hey, Richard, it's been 3 months. Let us use you sparingly and work you back in, and maybe he'll sign off on that, or maybe his ego will be like, I'm sorry, my ego will not allow me to come off the bench. Sorry about that. I'm going to have to start. And they're going to be, all right, Richard, we tried.